Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I'm your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today and pushing play on today's episode. This is episode 156, and this has been an episode that's been on my mind for a while. I've known that I've wanted to talk about it, but I just haven't been sure what to say. So it's been on my mind, it's been on my heart, and today it feels right to bring to you. So a while ago, I think it was probably months ago, really, truly months ago, I heard a quote somewhere that was like, you don't get what you want in life, you get what you tolerate, which I think is really interesting. And so I have sat with that for months, really. And I've observed my own life. I'm not talking about observing other people's lives. I've observed my own life, my own behaviors. And it came to a tipping point last week. It really did. And I was like, okay, this is great. This is such a good example. Now, big disclaimer, caveat, whatever you want to call it here, is when I'm talking about tolerating, I'm talking about situations and circumstances in your life. I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about people. I'm going to reiterate this over and over throughout this episode because I don't want it to be taken out of context. I think we should be kind to everyone. I think we should tolerate people. I think people get to do what they do. That's them. That's their life. You tolerate it either by just putting yourself in this frame of like, this is them, or you tolerate it by removing yourself from these people, okay? I'm not talking about making changes to other people or being intolerant with people. I am talking about situations and circumstances in your life and your own ways of being, things that you can actually do something about. You can't do something about other people. You can remove yourself from these people, but you can't do anything about them, okay? So when I'm talking about things that are intolerable in your life, I'm talking about your own behavior and the situations, circumstances, your own experiences that you are having of life. I want to make that so clear. Okay, so before I hit this like light bulb moment in my life, a, a, about a week before that, so now I'm talking like 2 weeks ago, I wrote down in my journal, I was kind of venting to myself, and I wrote down, without even really thinking about it, I wrote down, this is intolerable. And as soon as I wrote it down, I sat with that and I was like, after a moment, the next thing I wrote was, and yet I tolerate it, which is so interesting. I'd reached this point where I was like, this is intolerable. I can't do this anymore. And yet I was allowing the situation, the experience to persist. I wasn't doing anything about it. And that was really illuminating to me because I was like, there's a choice here. And I'm choosing, even though I'm saying this is intolerable, I am choosing to actually tolerate it. I am choosing not to change. I am choosing not to see things differently or do things differently. So actually, as much as I say it's intolerable, I'm really tolerating it. So that was really interesting to me because it highlighted the choice that I was actually making. It showed me that I have the power to make a change here, and yet I haven't, or I don't, or I will not, whichever category that hurts the most in. Okay, so when it's intolerable, when it truly is intolerable, you do something about it. So I had this moment last week where I hit this point. This is so funny. We have lovely neighbors. They do. They live this way. We have lovely neighbors. Their dog is the worst. I do not like their dog. Mostly because their dog is obnoxious. And like if I go out to my front yard and their dog is out, he'll come to me and bark at me for being on my property. And I'm just like, dude, yo, you're on my lawn, so quit barking at me. Like, go. Anyways, they call them back. They're very nice people. We love them. It's just the dog. But our sweet dog, who also barks, Luna, and this is a sweet dog too, but really, Luna and this dog They meet at the fence and they bark at each other. And Luna, I don't know what happens on the other side of the fence, but Luna has started to she'll bark and she'll dig a little bit. She's not really going for it. She's not really trying to get to the other side of the fence, but her claws dig in. And over time, she's ripped up the grass over there and it's dirt. But when we water the lawn, it becomes mud. And it's just in this one spot because there's a sprinkler right there too, which is just makes the whole thing worse. So this spot, as we've watered the lawn, becomes mud. And we have put this cinder block, because the cinder blocks have the holes in it, over the spot with a hole for the sprinkler, right? But we have to move it every time we water the lawn. And then once we're done, we have to go put it back. And this kind of prevents her from getting too muddy, really. It really doesn't, it's not a really bad situation when we remember. But there was one time where, and this was a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we'd moved the cinder block, we watered the yard. I let her out to go potty. She went over to the fence, started barking at the other dog, and she got so muddy so fast. And I was like, oh my hell. And so I had to get it together to wash her down, to allow her back inside, and I was furious. Okay. But then, I got over it. We processed. It's fine. And then last week, I was getting ready. I had just gotten out of the shower. My sweet little came into the bathroom, and she said, "Can I go outside and take Luna?" And I said, "Sure." Didn't even think about it. I love it when they go outside and take the dog because then I feel like the dog's out there with them and, I'm not there, so the dog's there. Anyways, whatever. It's fine. I was like, "Sure." And then a few moments later, mind you, I am in my towel. A few moments later, I hear her barking at the fence and I think, oh crap, we just watered the lawn and I bet that cinder block isn't there. And sure enough, she is so muddy. And I'm furious because I just showered. So not only am I not dressed, but I am clean. And now I have to get dressed super quickly and I have to go take care of her, and I have to do that quickly because I don't want my hair to dry naturally because then it dries weird. I need to blow dry it. So I'm so mad. I am so mad. And I said, this is intolerable, but I meant it to my core. I meant it to my core. So I sent Jake a text and I said, "Hey, date night at Home Depot?" And he was like, "Sure." And I was like, "Luna's muddy again. We are fixing this today." And sure enough, that night we went to Home Depot, we got some pavers, we got a cinder block, we fixed the situation to where it really can't happen again because we put some pavers down. Jake orchestrated it beautifully. And I sat there and gave him company because I didn't know what to do. But anyways, whatever, it's fine. The situation got completely fixed so that now when the sprinkler goes off, that spot can't get muddy. It's not possible anymore. And so no matter what, she can't go over there and get muddy again. And actually, the fun has been lost on barking at that other dog because we have done such a great job at mitigating that as well. She can't see under the fence. The other dog can't get under the fence. It's not as fun. So we solved that problem that day. But it was because that time when she got muddy, I decided, deep, deep, deep down, decided this is completely intolerable. I will not do this again. I will not do this anymore. This situation blows. I'm making a change. What do we need to do? You and me, date night at Home Depot. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure it out today. We're going to implement it today. This will not ever be an issue again. I got there very quickly, right? That day, right? Because it happened before. The second time, I was like, I'm so done. So here's the difference, though. Here's the difference. I can write in my journal, this is intolerable, and yet not do anything to make the change. Or I can be washing down the dog real fast because I don't want my hair to dry, thinking this is intolerable, this ends now, and actually do what I need to do to make the change. We actually went to Home Depot. We actually thought up solutions. We actually bought the pavers. And then when we got home, we actually put them in. We didn't just like leave it in the back of the car. It was like, hey, the kids are in bed. It's cool outside. Let's grab whatever we need and let's go do this thing because I never want to do this again. There's a big difference there, right? This is intolerable and nothing changes, and this is intolerable and it's going to be completely different by the end of today, no matter what. Really big difference there. Now, why? Right? Why? As I've thought about these two situations in my life, as far as like these two things are intolerable, one thing changed immediately almost, and then one thing didn't. It's like, what's the difference? And I've talked about this before, but here's what it boils down to. It boils down to belief. Belief in what I'm capable of, belief in what's possible, belief in what I can do, belief in what I have power and control over, right? So the situation that I wrote in my journal about, I have a lot of insecurities around this, like tons. Like we could spend years talking about all of the baggage I've got. And those are things that I'm working through in my journal and meditation. There are lots of modalities of work there, okay? But those are things that I'm working through. And it's like, okay, these things are changing. They really are. It's just a lot slower. It's not by end of day. It's a lot slower. And I'm a little frustrated with how slow I am on this side. Over here, I knew for 100% certainty that we could figure out the mud situation that night. I believed it down to my core. I was like, all we have to do is go to Home Depot, get a little creative, buy a few things, implement it, done. I could see that. I could believe that. The solution, although I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out, I knew that there was a solution. I knew that I could implement it. And even if Jake hadn't been there, what was done wouldn't have been as beautiful. It wouldn't have been as eloquent, but I would have gotten the job done. I really would have. Even if he wasn't there, I would have been like, I don't care if it's messy, as in like it doesn't look great. I just don't want this messy as in muddy. So I knew, even if but I had Jake. So I was like, great, this is perfect. I have his help, and I have him over in this other situation too. But what I'm saying is the belief behind these two situations are very different. For the belief that I was writing, for the situation I was writing about in my journal, this is intolerable. And yet I tolerate it because I have beliefs that it has to be slow. I have beliefs that it has to take a long time. I have beliefs that I'm not sure I can pull this off. I have beliefs that I'm not sure I'm good enough. I have beliefs that I'm not even sure this is possible. I have all of that stunting my progress and really allowing me to tolerate it. And they're really just excuses, right? They're excuses, but because they're so much deeper than that, I'm calling them beliefs. And they're beliefs that I get to work through, and they're beliefs that I get to change. And with the mud hole, I knew absolute certainty I could change that situation and that I didn't have to wait to change it. I knew I could change it, implement it. By end of day, things would be different. Absolutely knew. So as you look at the situations, remember we're talking about situations and circumstances and experiences and your personal behavior and ways of being that you find intolerable. And your next thought is, and yet I tolerate it. Ask yourself what it is you're believing. Like, what are the beliefs that are encouraging you to tolerate that? What are the beliefs that are allowing you to tolerate that? Because the only way to move from a place of like, I'm tolerating this, but I hate it, to there's no way in hell I'm ever doing this again, is just what you believe underneath. You change those beliefs, you change what you do, and then you change your result. It starts with what you're believing. And not just about yourself, what you believe about the situation, what you believe about the world, what you believe about whatever. And there are lots of ways to find the solutions. But you have to believe that you can find the solution. You have to believe there is a solution, to be honest. You have to believe that there is a solution. If I just was washing my dog down and was like, it is what it is, this sucks, like, I guess we just won't let her out anymore. I guess we just, whatever, like, I don't know. I could have gone to this place of resignation of like, well, we'll just have to wait till we move or they move, and that's that. But I was like, no, I don't have to wait. This is being solved today. So you can have the belief that other things have to change. I could have sat down on the porch steps and been like, well, I guess we just have to wait till they move. That would be completely giving my power away about the situation to our neighbors who may or may not ever move. Like, what's that? What if that's their forever home? If that's their forever home, then what? Do I wait till their dog dies? Like, do I wait till our dog dies? Like, what? That's completely just giving that away. And so don't do that. Don't just sit down on the porch and be like, well, I guess we just have to wait for whatever. And again, I'm not talking about changing people. I'm talking about situations, experiences, circumstances, and your own ways of being. Really, truly, honestly. Because you have, like, that's what you have the most control over is you. The things that you do, the things that you think, the things that you say, the things that you believe. You have complete control over that. And all of those things add up to your ways of being, right? All of those things add up to who you are. And if at any time you don't like it, you get to change it. And I'm not saying that's going to be easy. It's simple, but not easy, right? Like the situation I wrote about in my journal, this is intolerable. And yet I have decided it's going to take a long time. I have decided, to keep believing the stories that I'm not good enough, to keep believing the stories that I'm not capable, blah, blah, whatever, all of the junk that I am believing in there that's keeping me in a place of tolerating what I so desperately hate. I haven't reached that critical point where it's like, enough is enough. I will do whatever. I mean, I'm really, this is a work in progress. I'm not saying I'm sitting on the porch over here. I am working on it. It's not as easy and straightforward to me as it was fixing the mud hole. But there will be a point where it will be that easy and straightforward, and then we are off. Until then, I chip away at it. I chip away at it day by day, work through it day by day, and know and trust that that will all add up. So if there are situations and experiences and ways of being that you feel like it's not that simple, I can't just go to Home Depot and fix my problem. Okay, well, what can you do today to work on that? How can you chip away on that today? How can you just gradually wear that down today until there is a point where you're just like, well, look at that. That situation, I'm no longer tolerating it. It is not even a thing anymore. It is not even in the realm of possibility anymore because I did what I had to do to solve it. And yes, it could take a long time. It really could. But I love that quote. That's like, there's something about like, you know, I can't learn how to play the piano now because by the time I was any good, it'll be 10 years from now. I'll be 10 years older than I am now or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, well, if that's something you really want to do, this is the time you have. Like, what you're not going to you can't go back in time and be good at it by now. You've got to start now. And yeah, you'll be good at it later. But when it's later, you'll be good at it. Right. So don't discount the value of even if it's going to take a long time because it adds up. The time's going to pass anyway. So what are you going to do with it? Are you going to work on it? Or are you just going to sit down on the porch and be like, it is what it is. I'm just going to live with this forever until my neighbor moves or their dog dies, right? Like, don't take that route. Don't take that route. Much rather chip at it, right? Much rather just work on it as you can and make incremental progress than just sit down and not, right? Okay. So I love this thought. I truly do. I do. Think about this. Think about what it is that you're tolerating in your life as far as experiences and circumstances and ways of being. What are you tolerating? What are you no longer going to tolerate? What can end today? End of day, this is done. And what can you work on a little bit here and there over time to get to a point where you are no longer tolerating this thing? Both are good. Both are okay. Don't discount the value of either. That's what I have for you today. That feels good. I'm glad that this episode finally came into being. I can be grateful for the muddy dog for this episode. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. I love you. I send you all of my love. Until next time. Bye for now.